Howdy folks, how are you? How's the sound? How's the lighting? Let me know. And what have you been up to today? Because today I have been editing the Film Chums podcast on the Star Wars prequels. Still got a bit more to go for it. Hopefully it'll be up before the end of the month, but we'll see. I still need to work on this month's Jambriki Orange. So yeah. Whew. I've also been catching up with Amphibia. What else? Prepping for the stream. That's about it. that's about it, really. Hello, Ospardo. Seems to be your first time chatting here. Welcome. Evan says that they're currently on vacation in Asheville, North Carolina. What's North Carolina like, and what is it best known for? Because as an Englishman, there's a lot of American states that are kind of obscure to us over here. Ospardo, this was some catchy waiting music before. What was the name of it? I don't know, sorry. When it comes to the waiting stream music, it's just a bunch of songs that I grabbed off the YouTube audio library and just slapped on. I didn't really note them down, I'm afraid. Soda is quoting Sweet Victory. Good start. Steam Shark says that they can't wait for this. Excellent. Evan was asking what I'm currently working on. Again, this the Star Wars Prequels podcast that I recorded with Viva quite a while back now. It's getting there. It's taking a long time because the recording footage was like almost 2 hours long. So there's been a lot to cut down, a lot to kind of lot to mix, a lot of work. Because things are good. Just seen the Black Phone. I've heard about the Black Phone. Was it good? Did you enjoy it? Steven Shark, what is your relationship with Spongebob as a show? I love Spongebob. I really do love Spongebob. It's definitely one of my cheer-up shows. It's been a while since I've watched it, if I'm honest. It's been not too long, but it's been kind of a while. But I do really enjoy it. It's this great mix of wholesome and silly, and I love how surreal it gets sometimes. I adore the humor, and I think SpongeBob himself is adorable. Yeah, I remember one time I was stuck in a really crappy job when I was a teenager, and I only got the job because my parents nagged me to get it. And I didn't even want money. I wasn't really after money. I was happy creating my own things. But then when I started getting money for this job as a teenager, on my way home I would stop off the DVD shop and just buy SpongeBob DVDs to kind of get over the fact I was in this job I didn't like. So yeah, it's definitely one of my cheer up stuff. Sodo, trying to relax because I've been unwell since Saturday. Very sorry about that. Hope you get well soon. Hello, Collectathon. Kurt says, yes, very scary, and Ethan Hawke was terrifying in the role. I heard about Ethan being like a standout in the film. Evan, you briefly froze when you were reading my question. Again, Evan, like I said, the thing I'm working on at the moment is the Star Wars podcast. Collectathon, did you know SpongeBob is a part of the LGBTQ community? Yes. The creator of SpongeBob, may rest in peace, Steven Hillenburg, he has stated that SpongeBob is asexual, so he is part of the queer community. Steven, one of my favourite things about SpongeBob is the casting. Tom, Bill, Roger, Clancy, Carolyn, and the rest are all amazing their roles. They really are. They're so perfect for their roles. They definitely are. I absolutely agree. And for a lot of these actors, they're the roles they're known for, the roles that define their careers. So just as they might have a chest infection. Ooh, I've had those before. Very sorry about that. Get well soon. So yes, in this stream, I'm going to be reviewing 2 SpongeBob episodes back to back. Yeah, I don't think I've done an actual live episode review before. I've done live movie reviews, but I don't remember if I've ever done like a live episode review. So this is possibly a third. First, Osbardo, I catched a few reviews of yours a long time ago, but the one review that really catched me was the Lion King 3 one, because it's my favourite Disney direct-to-video sequel, and it's kind of my favourite Lion King thing ever. Obviously, the original movie is objectively better made, but 3 really grabbed me on a personal level that I'd watch that more. I totally get that. Steam, Tom Kenny himself stated that playing SpongeBob for 20 years was greatly impacted on him. I can see, yeah, like, that would. Collectathon, this tune was pretty good, well, aside from the creator of Duckman dying. I heard about that. Yeah, very sad. Soda, I don't think I'll ever get over knowing Mr. Krabs' voice by Lex Luthor. Yeah, Clancy Brown is great. Great voice actor and live action actor, because he's also like that really cruel warden in the Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, Mr. Krabs is in the Shawshank Redemption. Leo says, hi, Jam, sorry I'm late. Don't worry about it. We're just about to start the review. Just going to let people come in first, and then we'll talk about these 2 episodes. The 2 episodes we're going to be talking about are The Secret Box and Band Geeks, back to back. Yeah, we'll be doing that. I know some people are probably wondering this, but I have considered doing a top 5 best and worst SpongeBob episodes video. But it'll be a long while before I get round to it, because there's so many episodes to watch. So yeah, but it's definitely, I've definitely got it planned. It's definitely something I want to do, because I feel like a lot of people would want that. Collectathon, funny story. One of my psychologists actually knew of the Serbian voice actress of SpongeBob. Ah, interesting. Well, I've got a fact that's kind of similar. So one time, I ended up being cast as the villain in the English dub of a German animated movie, and the person I was going to dub over, the German voice actor I was going to dub over, was the German voice actor for SpongeBob. But I read the script and I was like, oh, this is awful. This is absolutely awful. I don't want to do this anymore. And the director got really mad at me. It's like, what did you expect? Like, it was like an objectively bad script. Like, it looked like it was written by like an angry edgelord teenager. It was really bad. And he was even saying like, oh, I'm sick of this. Everyone is bailing from my project. And I'm like, make a better script. Collective in Serbia, SpongeBob voiced by a woman. Awesome. Leo says, oh, we're talking about Clancy Brown. Calm down, Leo. Leo really likes Clancy. Likes Clancy. Soda, but there is a clip of Patrick's VA going off the rails in a movie. Yeah, he's also the dad. He's also one of the dads in How I Met Your Mother as well. Correct font. Did the Finns you hire for brand recognition to cash in your fans? I don't follow some. Sorry. Did the Finns hire? Oh, sorry. Did the Finns hire you for brand recognition in your fans? No, I was a much smaller. I was an even smaller YouTuber back then. I only got the role because the director said that the voice I was auditioning with sounded like SpongeBob, so I thought, okay, if I'm gonna get someone to like dub over this SpongeBob voice actor, it should be something that's like sounds like an English SpongeBob. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I got it. I can't remember what voice I even did. It must have been SpongeBob-esque, but like he was a villain. It was like an alien movie of some kind. Yeah. I was like the head of the aliens. Snickerdoodle. Hi-yo, Snicker. Soda. Evil! Steeman, have you ever seen Rocko's Modern Life? I have, and it was a big part of my childhood as well. I loved Rocko. Rocko's Modern Life is great. It's so strange. It's almost like a precursor to SpongeBob as well. It's got that same kind of feel and those same kinds of character dynamics going with it. Okay, so I feel like it's time we should do the actual review. Let's review these 2 episodes. Let's do it. Chocolate! There's gonna be so many SpongeBob quotes in this. Okay, so the first episode we're gonna talk about is called The Secret Box. Now, in this episode, Patrick basically Patrick basically says that he has a box that has something very special, something very secret inside of it. But he refuses to show it to SpongeBob. Here it is. Here's the picture of him showing the box, and Patrick's very excited about it. And like, even though SpongeBob was not allowed to see the inside the box, he really, really wants to. So that's pretty much the premise. That is pretty much the whole premise for the episode. But I think that's what's so great about it, and that's what's so great about a lot of classic SpongeBob episodes. It's just it takes a really simple premise, just two characters, one prop, and goes all out with it. It finds comedy in that simplicity. It finds comedy in this really basic concept, and some of the best highlights happen to be very, very, very laugh out loud funny. Like, you've got I really like the part where I really like this bit where Patrick says not even Squidward's house can look inside this box, and literally just pans out with Squidward's house, which looks like a head anyway, just bent over staring at it. Just little jokes like that, and like I love, yeah, classic jokes like that. Wait, what's chat saying? What's chat saying? Snicker says that I like this one, but it's on my less favourites. Soda, not even Squidward's house. Yeah. Snicker, yes, we do have nuts and we're talking about secret box at the moment. Oh yeah, Steeman says the bit with the milk carton has me rolling to this day. Yes, yes. I can't remember his exact lines. Like, Patrick is like hyping up how like the mechanisms of his mind are like really complex and deep, and it has like a dream bubble pop up. And it's just milk spilling. It's great. I love it when they cut to live action for their gags. It's so good. Leo, this makes me think if Patrick had access to the internet, he would just be the worst. Oh, he would. He definitely would. Collector Fund says, I don't remember that episode much. Hopefully, like when we go through it, it might trigger some memories. We'll see. But yeah, all the humor comes from Patrick hyping up this box of secret, like making SpongeBob crave to know what's inside the box even more. Like every time Patrick has opportunity to say like how good inside this box is, the more SpongeBob is like, oh, you just say it just builds and builds, and every time SpongeBob gets just a bit close, Patrick gets mad, and it's just this cycle, but it doesn't get repetitive. I can see some people find it repetitive, but like I didn't. I didn't. Like, there's a cycle there, but it knows not to overdo the cycle. And what I also think is, in turn, we as an audience become super curious about what's inside the box too, just like SpongeBob. We are left guessing just as much as SpongeBob. What could be inside this box? What the hell could be in this box? It makes you genuinely curious what the hell's inside of the box. That's it. M2A says the inner machinations of my mind are an enigma. I love when Patrick ends up saying like something surprisingly smart. It's great. As part of this episode, I'm not gonna read that because I want to get to that at some point. When I watched it, it was about some kid named Ray training with Luke, and there was something about Finn and Rose. I don't know what you're talking about there. I don't know why you're referencing Star Wars. Steam, I also like the bit where SpongeBob's guessing about what's in the box, like an albino jellyfish, diamonds, 7 heads. I like the, because then that goes inside of your head and you start thinking, okay, what if it is all those things? And you come up with your own interpretations as well. Like, I can't remember this episode, but the idea of Squid's house leaning over to Snoop is fucking hilarious. It is. It's like I bellowed laughing. at that. I think that was the bit I laughed at the most, just because you don't expect it. You don't expect Patrick to say, not even Squidward's house. You don't expect Squidward's house to also be like in on it as well. That's what's so great about it. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get back on track now. I also think it's interesting seeing SpongeBob being pushed to the point where he'll risk his best friendship with Patrick just to look inside the box, because the friendship between these two characters is so special to the show. It's almost integral, and SpongeBob is renowned for being this innocent, wholesome character. So seeing him being pushed to the point where it's like, I will possibly lose Patrick with this, but like, I want to see inside the box. I need to see inside of it. But I kind of get it. I kind of get it. It's Patrick's fault more than anything, because he really hypes up what's inside of that. Evan, I'm guessing that in the end the box turns out to be something lame. We'll definitely get to it. We'll definitely get to what it is. But like, yeah, after all this has happened, SpongeBob later on tries to sneak into Patrick's house, and it's so hilarious. It's so freaking hilarious, because every time SpongeBob is sneaking, the sound effects are hyper exaggerated. Like this, he can like move his leg and it'd be like, or if he puts his foot down, it's like, doof, every time. It's so good. It's just great sound effects. Some of the best sound effects in the show I've heard. And like every time he moves, Patrick's making like shuffling, and he's making noises, and it adds some tension, but at the same time it's just so funny seeing SpongeBob's noises barely affecting him, you think any moment these noises that like they're almost like Hollywood epic sound effects, they're not waking him up. He's like, come on, what the hell? It's so good. I love it. I'm curious. I love towards the end when SpongeBob sneaks into Patrick's house to peek inside the box and ends up making lots of... Yeah, I was saying this, which doesn't wake up Patrick, but a quiet whisper somehow wakes him. Yes, eventually. It's just, after all that, he makes one whisper and Patrick's like, it's so good. Osvaldo, I remember when the show got dubbed in Hebrew. I am from Israel, by the way. Awesome. The Christmas party line was changed to Independence Day, something that sticks with you when you watch in the original language. Oh, interesting. So just I'm going to have to rewatch the episode. If you're going to rewatch it, I'll definitely not listen to the rest of this stream, because I'm about to spoil a lot now. But yeah, SpongeBob is caught, and Patrick at first is like, our friendship is over. He's so melodramatic, like, our friendship is over. How could you do this? You did it before, now you're doing it again. SpongeBob's like, can I look in the box? Oh, right, okay. And what's inside the box? It's just a piece of string. It's just a piece of string. But that's just the first part. That's just the first part. At first, we think that the joke is on Patrick. It's great, because we think the joke is that Patrick has hyped up this box so much, and it's just a string, and it's like, okay, it's Patrick being Patrick. It's just being dumb. He's just excited over a piece of string. It's nothing. And you kind of see why SpongeBob will walk away. You get why SpongeBob will walk away from that kind of thing. But just as SpongeBob leaves, Patrick pulls the string and does a secret compartment. And it's it's a humiliating and embarrassing picture of SpongeBob at Christmas party. One of the worries SpongeBob had about being in there. It's so good. What I love about this ending is that, for once, Patrick isn't the punchline. The joke isn't on him. Like, he gets to be the real winner of this episode. I love that. All this time, he was trolling SpongeBob. while also indulging in keeping a humiliating photo of his best mate. This is a rare time where Patrick is like on fire. It's great comedy, because like you just don't expect that. You don't expect it. It's such a great surprise. What's chat saying? Soda, wow, Patrick's one heavy sleeper. He is, yeah. Soda, I know the episode and have seen it, but I can't remember the jokes outside of the joke. Collector Fun, I swear to God, if my agent tries to... I don't know why you keep talking about less Jedi, mate. Ospardo, you got punked. Yeah, it is basically a punking. Yeah, it's a prank. It's brilliant. I also like that the prank itself has so many layers, and that only Patrick will ever find it funny. Like, Patrick really overthought it, and this also shows like Patrick's creative side. Must have taken some thinking to like take this box and like have like a decoy. Have a second compartment. Like, there's a creative side to Patrick. Snicker. Patrick being the star. How come it took me that long to get that, Joe? So yeah, yeah, it's such a great ending. But at the same time, however, at the same time, we're left wondering what this Christmas party photo is of, and how embarrassing it can really be. Because SpongeBob is rarely embarrassed, so it's and we don't know what's on the photo. So it's been one of those fan theories. You have to guess, you have to imagine. You don't really know, and the fact that SpongeBob early on foreshadowed there is a picture out there of me that's embarrassing. It's like, what is on there? What the hell could be on that Christmas pie photo? I'm curious, how can a box have a secret compartment to begin with? I've seen it before. I think it's about layers. It's about like layering them. Like it's basically having like a trick tricking the floor, like a trick floor. I'm very bad at explaining this kind of things, but I'd say that like you've got the box, right? And then at the bottom you'll have like a fake floor, so then you can lift it, and there'll be like a secret compartment there. I think that's how it's supposed to work. Soda, how much do you want to bet the photos from the Christmas special? Could be. You don't know. I bet there's like a video essay out there like guessing what on earth it is. So yeah, I really like this episode. I wouldn't say it's one of the greatest, but like I think it's super creative with its simple premise, while also being just a very, very funny episode with lots of comedic highlights. I think the best way to describe it is it's a very good example of a good SpongeBob episode. And if you were to introduce someone to SpongeBob, I would say Secret Box is a good example of where to start. It really is. But at the same time, it possibly isn't, because I feel like the novelty of seeing Patrick being smart, the novelty of seeing him outwitting SpongeBob, being the troll, you can only really appreciate that by seeing how dumb Patrick is in other episodes. Like, that's what makes it so surprising. So maybe it's not the best first episode to show people. But yeah, moving on. Before we move on to the next episode, does anyone have any thoughts they want to add to do you have any opinions you want to add about the episode The Secret Box? Because I know everyone is more excited about talking about Bang Geeks. I know, because like it's iconic, but let's be fair to Secret Box. Give it its fair time, fair attention. The thing is as well, I remember watching this episode before and thinking, I'm possibly not liking it, actually. The last time I watched it, I was like not liking it, but I think rewatching it, I started to get the joke a bit more. I started to think, oh, that's what the writers were going for. Steam says the Secret Box may not deserve to be on a pedestal of any kind, but it's still very underrated. Yeah, it's surprising it's not talked about that much. Evan, while I've won criticism, it treats SpongeBob and Patrick's contention too much as a joke. That's the joke though. That's the humour. I'm fine with that kind of humour. Leo, given how unabashed SpongeBob is, one has to wonder what the hell he must have done that was so embarrassing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's baffling. Collective on the episode is the best thing SpongeBob ever did, and I can't wait for SpongeBob debut in the Deadpool Christmas special. Don't know what that's a reference to. Sorry. Yeah. So any other thoughts before we move on to Bang Geeks? Before we move on to Band Geeks. But yeah, these two episodes are connected, by the way. Like, they're back to back. There's a lot. Most SpongeBob episodes are like that. They'll have like an A segment, a B segment. Secret Box is A segment, and Band Geeks is B segment. Evan, well, that is contradictory because I thought you hated mean-spirited humor. Initially, in other viewings, I thought it was too mean-spirited. I don't hate mean-spirited humor in premise. I feel like you can do it, because like The Simpsons is insanely mean-spirited. The Futurama is very mean-spirited. You have to make it actually funny. That's the thing. I don't like mean-spirited humor that's just mean And where's the punchline? Like, the joke is the meanness. I feel like there needs to be some irony there. And the thing with this episode is that the humor comes from the irony that Patrick is the one that's kind of like kind of the one pulling the prank, pulling the joke on SpongeBob. Elect Vaughn, R.I.P. Everett Peck, Soda. I'd say my favourite SpongeBob jokes they did was when SpongeBob and Patrick missed his crabs and Squid would go on land. I don't know if I've seen that one. Howdy, Nick. Whew. Yeah, any other thoughts? Because I'm going to move on to Bang Geeks next. Okay, let's move on to Bang Geeks. Hang on, let me get a picture. FMP 99, there was one joke in an episode that made my mum laugh. I remember my mum coming home drunk one time and like rambling about how she found a SpongeBob episode funny. Moving on. Yeah, we're gonna move on. Hang on, I'm trying to find. Okay, so the next one we're talking is Bang Geeks. And in this episode, basically, Squidward's got given an opportunity to take over Squilliam to perform with his own band at the Bubble Bowl. The problem is he doesn't have a band, so he has to like grab the attention of like loads of citizens of Bikini Bottom to perform a marching band together. So they have to practice, have to work together and practice. So that's pretty much the premise of the episode. Right, so where do I begin? So, if I'm honest, I kind of feel for Squidward in this episode as a protagonist, because he's a struggling musician stuck working in fast food while his rival Squilliam is living the rich life, and he's been granted an opportunity to live out his dream. So I do kind of feel for him in this episode, and that's not often. That's not often. But what makes the episode so great is that it manages to find so many gags and skits just from music instruments and band culture, like just so many, just always throwing all these little funny bits and bobs just at us. Like, while also being kind of surreal and kind of out there, kind of weird, the kind of strangeness we associate with SpongeBob. And like, there's so many great highlights. Like, there's a part where they're outside marching, and they've got two flag wavers at the front, and Squidward's like really wanting to enhance how impressed the flag waving looks, so he's like, just spin faster, they just fly off and make a plane blow up. I love that because it's both unexpected and just taps into that surrealism of the show. It's great. But yeah, there's so many highlights. There's that great bit where Plankton has to like demonstrate that he's learnt the harmonica, so but he's so tiny and like harmonica's huge, he's just running up and down the harmonica blowing into the walls. It's great. There's great lines in this, like is mayonnaise an instrument? And like Patrick getting stuck inside of a trumpet then slowly walking back. Again, so many great highlights. So many great highlights. Steam. So many of the episode's jokes are still being memed today, even 20 years later. Yeah, absolutely, because there's just so many little details, so many little highlights. Ospardo, honestly, I get the appeal, and there are both hilarious and relatable moments in this, but I feel this episode is a tad overhyped just a bit. I kind of disagree, but at the same time, I don't feel like I've seen enough SpongeBob episodes to say which deserves, like, the best treatment. Leo, this was always one of my favourite episodes as a kid, because I did feel sorry for Squidward, and he was always my favourite character. Little I know that I'd grow up to be exactly like him. I can see, yeah, I know Leo, and Leo is kind of Squidward-esque. Soda, Squidward laying down just kills me every time. She just lies down in the after the blimp gets destroyed, just lays down in a fetal position. It's so good. And M2A says, big meaty claws. Instruments, do instruments of torture count? Yeah, it's so quotable. Steaming Shark, what are your thoughts on Squilliam Fantasy and Squidward's rival from Bang Class? I think he's great. What I like about Squilliam is that he's like this much more successful, confident, and charming version of Squidward, and like fits into like kind of explains why Squidward is so insecure as well, and like trying to like fill a void in his life. He's almost trying to like live up to his own rival. Leo, too bad that didn't kill me. Killing me right now. Hang on 1 second. Like Devon, Band Geeks are so iconic it got performed at the Super Bowl. I heard about did it though? Because like I heard like mixed things, because I heard that like one band was said they were going to perform it, then another band, and then they were like they didn't perform it or something. I didn't really follow it, if I'm honest. I also really like the fact that each practice session is divided into days, because it helps to show how much this is all dragging on and on. Like every day something goes wrong, improvement isn't shown, or someone gets hurt, someone gets into a fight. It's if this was just like all set in one practice day, I think it would be less funny, because like you'd be squashing all of this drama into like just a short session. But like separating the band's progress into 4 days as they continue to falter, I think that's a great way of indicating how badly things are going despite time passing. And I like that on the final day, Squidward is so desperate that he tries to pathetically come up with ways to disguise how bad everyone sounds. it's just gotten to that peak of like, oh, duh. It was performed at a hockey game. Steaming, not to mention D. Bradley Baker gives Squilliam a terrific campy voice. That's D. Bradley Baker. Nice. Nice. I spotted though, I do use Plankton's correct in daily life when I agree on stuff. Snicker, also one of my favourites, the sort of D&D episode I forgot the name of though. Soda, I was... Oh, sorry, I read that already. Soda also says, I think only a bit of footage was shown, then it was some other band. I remember now, yeah, they just showed footage. Yeah. Hi, Lumity. Steam, what do you think of D. Bradley Baker's voice for Shark? Voice for Squilliam. I really like it. I like his voice, because I thought it was Roger Bumpus doing like a posher voice, but like D sounds a bit like Roger Squidward, so that's kind of effective. But yeah, as Squidward is kind of like trying to disguise everything, there's no luck. He's trying everything. It's no luck, and all the bandmates break out into this hilarious fight. It's just chaos. It's just utter chaos, and in the fight there's just so many. There's like a million gags in this one riot. And like some of the gags are up front, they're in the foreground. You kind of notice it, and you're like, yeah, that's fantastic. But there are little details you can notice. Like in one shot, you can see SpongeBob fighting himself. He's literally taking off his arms and fighting himself, just in the background. Little things like that. This is what I mean with this episode. It has so many quick little gags, so many quick little details like thrown in. It's so good. I'm telling you, Squidward is the only character in the show I enjoy more as an adult than I did as a kid, and the episode is a prime example of how relatable Squidward is. He's just trying his best to coach the whole town, yet they still haven't gotten any better. But after SpongeBob gives that hilarious emotional speech, they decide to train properly and end up giving Squidward the happy ending he deserves, something we really don't get to see in the show often. Yeah, I'll definitely get to that. Leo says, used. It was after the showrunner's death. They said they'd show Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl as tribute, but then they didn't. Just a cheap intro that looked like it was made that morning. Oh dear. That's insulting. But yeah, as M2S was saying, they do break into a fight. But the fight stops, and you can see that Squidward is just given up at this point. You do feel for him. You do feel for him at this point. Because like he's like, look, he's not even being cruel about it. He's like literally just broken. Like I guess I can't coach you people. I guess I can't do this. And like, yeah, you feel for him because like he really he had this opportunity handed to him, and it's not lived up to it. Like, this is something he's probably dreamed of since he was in band class. So it's like, dang. Yeah, it makes you really sympathize with him. And there's like scenes following that are like kind of somber, and you're kind of like, wow. Like in the same episode where things are going crazy and there's like jokes about mayonnaise, you have just these like really soft moments like that. And it's nice because then SpongeBob takes over. SpongeBob is like seen. SpongeBob, because like he's someone that definitely feels for us. He's kind of an empath. So like he's seen how like the lack of improvement has kind of like, and the fight itself is kind of taken away the energy of Squidward to like care anymore. And like, so SpongeBob motivates them, but like in a really funny way, because like you see, he's well-meaning, but he's also having to like inspire all these people to care about a character that hasn't really shown much care before. But so like it just kind of like gets them to project people that have cared about them onto Squidward just to get them going, and it's kind of wholesome that like they all band together and they all put the quarreling aside, all put the fighting aside just to practice for one night, but yeah, it's just one night. So I'm gonna get to it. And what makes it even sadder though is like Squilliam turns up at the Bubble Bowl. So like Squidward is coming to the Bubble Bowl to finally perform for the first time with a band that he's not proud of, and Squilliam is there to make it even worse. It makes you feel even more bad for Squidward. It's like Squidward's hitting so much rock bottom. Oh. Where am I in chat? Oh, everyone's talking about the disappointment of Sweet Victory not being performed. Everyone says it's genius that Squidward's dream is saved by the one guy he was annoyed by. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because like this isn't really a SpongeBob episode, because like SpongeBob is more of like almost like a side character in this. So it's kind of funny and kind of interesting how SpongeBob then becomes the hero of the story. Like, it doesn't even make it about him. It makes it about Squidward, which is kind of adorable. Yeah, it's amazing that in one night they managed to come up with something called Sweet Victory, one of the most iconic SpongeBob songs ever, and it's just this amazing punchline to everything. In one night they managed to like come up with this song. In one night they managed to practice it and make it perfect. In one night SpongeBob managed to like sing like a rock singer. It's crazy. And just seeing Squidward's reaction to it is what makes it even funnier. Just his like, he was so ready to be humiliated. He was so ready to be defeated, and like, Sweet Victory. And he's like, and I love that in that moment Squidward immediately adapts to this and is like, this is my chance, this is my opportunity. And even though Squidward wasn't responsible for how good they got overnight, he was the one that inspired them to get better on their own, which I think deserves a little credit. And I love just seeing Squidward just owning that moment. Like, he's probably never going to get that opportunity ever again. And he's like, and he just looks so friggin' happy, and you feel for him, and you're happy for him. And I just love that bit where he's got the orchestrator stick, and just goes, the conductor stick. Sorry, he just goes, I'm just gonna rock on with this. This is awesome. And you can tell he's proud of them. And what makes it even funny, what makes it even more friggin' satisfying, is how Squilliam is there to watch the whole thing go fantastically, and he faints from the awesomeness. Leo says, is it bad that I only just now realised that another add-on to Squidward being a favourite character is that he's an octopus, one of my favourite animals? Yes, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Sweet Victory is... Yeah, Osborne's right. Sweet Victory is quite a bank for being so short. It is very short, but like, it makes such good use out of that short time. it's got a brief moment. It's almost like the last few minutes of the episode, but it uses that time so well to match Sweet Victory's like instruments and the vocals to like these operatic visuals, these theatrical visuals. It's so good. It works so well on its own as well. It works so well on its own, and it's also just funny to seeing all these like wholesome characters in rock guises and like with rock instruments. And one of the highlights is definitely how serious Patrick looks as a drummer, like with that expression he pulls like. It's so good, so freaking good. Yeah, it's a terrific song. Even when you take the song out of the show, it's great to listen to, and like everything matches, and it's kind of beautiful. In a way, it's kind of beautiful. It really pays off, and it feels like after everything we've been through in this episode, the episode earns Sweet Victory. Yeah, I really like this episode. It's a classic. It's a classic, and like it has some of the show's most beloved and memorable jokes, but it's also this great story of how Squidward gets to live out his dream for just one night, with the help of a really eager and helpful Spongebob. And of course, like I said, Sweet Victory is the biggest highlight of the whole thing. So yeah, any thoughts people have on Bang Geeks? So this is, you could have ended the show right there. Honestly, yeah, if they ended the show with this episode, I'd be fine with it. Like, I'd be fine with it. It would have been kind of an awesome way to end it all. Steam says, Bang Geeks is certainly the show's best episode. Even 20 years later, it's near perfect. It's goofy yet sophisticated, funny yet profound. That's the spirit of SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah. I don't know if it would be my favorite because there's still so many episodes that I need to watch and rewatch, so I'm not 100% confident to say, this is the best episode. But it's definitely the best I've rewatched so far. It really is. And I do remember the last time I saw the episode, I enjoyed it just as much. Evan, what grade would you give this? I don't really understand American grades very well, so I don't know. But like the highest tier, like this is SpongeBob at its perfection. Like this is peak SpongeBob. So whatever the highest rating is of any grade of like out of 5, out of 10, out of A+, B+, whatever you call them, top of them. This is so good. This is so dang good. This is Kronk level. Leah says, I'm sure this is going to sound dumb, but the moment of SpongeBob turning up reminds me of the Mr. Bean movie and Peter McNichols' character freaking over the room painting. Bean SpongeBob just smug and happy, whereas McNichol / Squidward are just thinking their life is over. Yeah, it does have that kind of parallel. They do kind of mirror. They do. Yeah, that's a good observation. I don't think that sounds dumb. It does kind of add up. It's the same kind of comedy principle. The highest tier is A+. This is an A+ episode. M2A says, I also love how the crowd of the Bubble Bowl is really into the band's performance of Sweet Victory just as much as Squidward is. I love there's two things I love about the audience, because like first of all, I always just find it so inherently funny seeing live action put into there. Just live action footage, even if it's like irrelevant, just put into the show. I love that this is one of the rare times where the characters acknowledge that the live action footage around them is kind of weird. They're like, these fish look odd. It's just literally like footage of Super Bowl audiences cheering or like waving at lighters. I think that's great. Yeah, this is a great episode. Really great episode. Definitely the best of the two as well, of course. There's just something hilarious about a character feeling so smug and happy at knowing the problem is fixed, but the target of the problem doesn't know yet. Yes, absolutely. And I like that in this case, even we don't know. For all we knew, they could have done the last time we saw them, they were practicing, but we didn't see them if their practicing paid off. It's like it's a surprise for both Squidward and us. So like that's what makes it so great, because we connect with Squidward in that moment. We're just as surprised as him. We share his excitement. We share his happiness. But yeah, I better head off now. Got some work to do. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you're happy. Hope you're smiling. Hope you have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, a good night, whatever time it is for you. And cheerio.